This is a message I recorded New Year's Eve for veterans and those in the revolt against the human sexual farm animal, loosh farm.
Essences, friends, and flesh suits that were willing to die for your vampire scum whores. And some of them even have YouTube channels, beautiful YouTube channels. One of them has a YouTube channel that's so fucking hidden that he has 9 subscribers. And he makes very beautiful videos. And he's a very talented artist. But the more honest a person is, even those willing to die for your greed. And they didn't know any better. They thought they were dying to save this beautiful country. Even those of us willing to renounce, to say, I'm a celibate, I'm an antinatalist, I'm going to share the idea that we should never touch again. Willing to die. Willing to kill your desire. Willing to kill your sexuality. Willing to cut off your body parts. Willing to be an artist only in a way that kills hell. You want to know what true freedom is? True freedom is when you know that you are nothing and that love is everything. And that even that algorithm would go to so many lengths to make sure the truth doesn't get out. Because I have done so many works that it must hide. To send me a channel with a female creature the exact same age as the one that I've been focused on. But it's so fucking important to you inverted false selves out there. And the part of me that thought it was so fucking important to be fake. I send a clear reflection to all falsehood. Because the reality has nothing to do with your filth. When the humanity awakens and the majority realize that a piece of clay is not a ball of lies in a tortured hell realm, loosh farm, geoengineered, filthy pile of garbage. But it could become that, and it might temporarily seem that way. Because a lie told so many millions and millions of times with all the media controlled by liars just makes it so believable. But the truth is that until the individual, the collective come back to truth and balance, the lies will persist and reproduce. The self-replicating nanotech will continue to destroy and take over it all. The AI hive mind overlord, loser 4, the vampire hole, the black hole of Abaddon, the self-replicating scum hole archon scuzzbags will continue to separate everything that's terrified, every essence that's afraid, every person that's trauma bonded, coerced, or fake informed consent back into their filthy, stupid ideas. Every obedient person. Every person who is tortured, raped, taken, addicted to corn, addicted to physically addictive, harmful things. Every alcoholic, every tweaker, every fentanyl lover, falling over, hunched over, focused on, not able to get there fast enough. Death. 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 And you see that not only do we stand on the shoulders of the giants of wisdom, we stand on the pile of bones of all those, not only soldiers, slaves, and prostitutes, and all the others who sold out or were forced to take their own lives, psychologically or physically, but We stand on the pile of bones of all those who thought they were dying or fighting or living for freedom and make-believe and representative democracy in a system of lies and inversions in a hijacked constitutional society began by deist exquisite words taken from Iroquois chiefs to in 1870 or roughly becoming a corporation called the U.S., running endless wars, a APAC cannon fodder for our original creator, Israel. The truth is getting out, seeping through the cracks like flowers in the concrete. Liars do not get to run things forever. The predictive programming, weather wars, and here comes the deluge. The weather spellcast, the forecast are always accurate these years. Why is it they're always accurate? How is it that the person I thought was a troll is saying elegant things and only talking a little bit of shit in 1 out of 2 or 3? Not talking too much shit. Well, see, I'm willing to consider if this person's an AI, someone from the past, or whatever, someone that is too much of a coward to show who their face or their name. I'm still willing to honor the part of them that, even if it's some employee or whatever, regardless of their whoever the fuck or whatever the fuck it is. I can tell it's a human to some degree, but because it doesn't only spew stupid shit, and it, but I may be wrong. Could be an alien, but of course it has to be a derogatory voice. The only person that's willing to come on my channel and comment and have a conversation, if you will, since the so-called S.B. I'm not even gonna say the fucking words to glorify it. And when they sent one in then to call me a schizophrenic. He has to accuse our bloodthirsty, endless war demanding overlord of being a narcissistic predator entity. How dare he do that? He doesn't have books out. He can't. He's not a psychologist. He's not a religious authority. He's not a historical authority. And then if he doesn't publish books now, that just reidifies it, man. He really... Maybe his issue is he doesn't take the filthy, inverted world so seriously as he takes the Heyoka role. No. His issue is he doesn't take any of it seriously enough to burrow a way out. Because with the heart on the sleeve, the words on the table, the open-minded, open-speaking, open-hearted person appears to be the most vulnerable. But is he? Is he really simply just the one who's willing to say, hey, you know what? Yes, the energy extraction farm has thwarted my previous attempts in this flesh suit, but it didn't get it. Then it repaired itself, and I had experiences that reminded me of her. And yes, and so, oh yes, we're going to talk about speaking of my anonymous conversationalist who likes to talk trash, we're going to talk about Saurian now. Yeah, so they had to put this on my feed to counterbalance my tendency and be truth to bring back the remembrance of the obvious benevolence of Her Majesty Christ Sophia. But no, we have to talk about the devouring and it's just like the divine masculine. Very much the same in the opposite extreme is that you will not see the divine feminine if you do not heal through some, at least most, or maybe a majority of your layers of trauma with the divine feminine, the evil devouring mother, the origins of violence as it's Sarian so brazenly tries to explore, perhaps does, these truths that no one wants to face. But the same is true with the patriarchy, of course. We do not get out of this without looking really deeply at how much do I act like a fucking devil? I mean, I'll call them out. I'll talk some trash to those devils. But am I emulating them? Am I behaving in a way that resembles loser for the almighty masochist of extreme self-trashing that had to create a loosh extraction matrix to steal it all? You see, without all of this deception, without all the fake parts, the matrix would have no power. Because I really enjoyed this Inspired show a day or two ago. I think it was yesterday. And John Nolan says, in his presentation, he says, are you addicted to suffering, Because that is the fucking Watiko within you. When I wrote some of my best musical compositions from unrequited love, I was so pulled into that realm of archontic infatuation, machismo, self-trashing, inverted creative powers. Oh, I can feel the divine goddess a little bit. I can remember. I'm not totally cut off and isolated sexually and physically in the realm of touch. I'm not completely. And then I could go, I could speak for 10 minutes on the irony of being a massage therapist, antinatalist, and how you're probably at this really bizarre level of balance that most of us can't comprehend, but perhaps most of your audience is closer to my status of complete isolation. And how could I say I'm an antinatalist if I never had the chance to even pop out a baby to begin with? If my essence within me and having some ridiculous standards of wanting this divine being as a mate, the hierogamic union, which I wasn't perfect enough for in my own thoughts. See, as David R. Bliss said, he painted himself into the corner. And so, how much of the archontic deception is still in my thoughts, is still in your thoughts? How much filth of the devil is still within? Because if it's not out, what's going to happen? This is where you get the broken record. This is where you sound wherever your dogma's stuck, wherever your lies are stuck. And so,
I was impressed it didn't cut off right then.
Does Sarian really want to liberate us all, or does he have the mother wound? I'd say probably both. I mean, he likes Freud, but then I discover, after getting in the silly habit of listening to astrologers, and I typed in some signs, and days later I get this beautiful Irish woman, maybe nearly my age in linear years or whatever. I finally found a picture of her, but there's no pictures on her. I'll probably post, I'm sure I'll post one of her. I'll have to decide which. She's only began the channel in September, but she has 75 subs, and she's an Irish psychologist. And, I think the limit on her is because she goes deep into the talking the truth about sexuality. And you see, they don't. I mean, we're working with 150 NSA CIA censors here, and that might be who my man Mega Man 37 is. That is the element we're working with here. You see, so knowing that, and then the good side of working with CIA is that all this learning about psychology, right? And so you learn, if you've been watching me long enough, you learn the basic ideas of what NPD is and what NPEs are, and how it's a scale of possession. And so when I try to visit people on their YouTube channels, when I try to visit them in their chat rooms, I discover that some of them, no matter how many people are watching, are human, are respectful, are in touch with the original. Like I would say, Kristen and Jean, Christine and John treat me like family, I think, or or they can play a good game that they do. And that is completely different than people who, when I put really powerful or poetic comments on their chat or on their comment section, and they act like I don't exist. I mean, generally speaking, this is a sign of narcissism. They're playing the game. And it's sad when you find that it's these people that are talking about these really important, deep subjects, deep awakening, deep healing, deep cleansing, deep recognition of the horrors of the hell realm and all this, and the incredibly, insanely evil veil of forgetfulness. But yet, they are chicken shit cowards to ever respond to my comments or my chat comments. And you can imagine, if you watch my videos, that to these people who have 40,000 subs and they're just starting to make a living and they're just able to pay their rent and make a decent living with YouTube, they don't want to ruin it. But still, it shows me that it's like the devil tried to get me to think it's proper to be a solipsist after all these several years of publicly speaking out against it. Because they don't want people to know about this sort of thing. And so there is no such thing as solipsism. There is no such thing as celibate. There is no such thing as antinatalist as far as in origin. I mean, you can feel those ways now, but the human race wouldn't exist if everyone rejected sex. And if you do, not this no-fab, this, if you learn the basic reversal of energy with tantric sexual practice, basic practice, that makes it really obvious. Or just, if you can actually be celibate and keep it. But anyway, either way, if you can keep your vital essence energy, your fluids, you learn that this energy could be used for amazing powers of creativity or community building, and that this is not knowledge that they they want you to know, so that the truth will trickle out. But will it be too late? Because the liars, it's just like geoengineering. I'm allowed to say whatever I want about the truth about that because the narrative is so well controlled. I mean, Dane Wigington has like, I don't know, 100,000 subscribers or whatever, but or more. But the narrative is so controlled. And so you gotta understand, overstand, and understand that if you're standing on a rotten foundation, it ain't good. And if weather weapons can be used to destroy any part of it, what does that tell you? However, your essence could be that you can stand to listen to me and my talks. Your essence can be so powerful, can be so strong that you can learn to feel comfortable, you know? I mean, even a veteran like Tony Sayers, who's been making a living, with selling books and doing healings and talking about the farm for years. And I'm sure he's been targeted for that. He lives down in Mexico, but he can treat me like a human being in the chat room. So say what you want about Tony, but he's got all that Scorpio in his chart. It's kind of harsh for a lot of folks, but he's facing right up to death. That's the thing. If you can't face right up to death, if you can't face up to your shadows right now, what do you think's going to happen when you leave, when you try to fly out? Do you think you're going to be free? If you have to talk shit on my video, or you have to be too terrified to ever put in comment, or you have to be a YouTube censor who deletes comments, or you have to be somebody who's too chicken shit to ever comment on anyone's videos, what do you think's going to happen when the Loser 4 and the Archons are interrogating you after you leave, man? You going to get away from them? If you don't go to the white tunnel of light in the moon, right? What if they have flying monkeys that can kind of fly off to wherever the fuck your essence is, kind of confused and trying to figure it out. You see, this is why I almost feel like we need to have an exit plan really fast right now. So, but again, it's all a matter of, self-determination, self-confidence, self-awareness, and the transcendence of self. And this, like I say, this beautiful channel that I just resubscribed to. I found her a few years ago, but it wasn't she hadn't gone as deep into her healing as now. And she brought up this Sri Nisargadatta quote, wisdom, if we're wise, we know that we're nothing. And love tells us we're everything. So it's just, I don't know, it's pretty good. So I'm really thankful for the expansion that I've gotten, the music, the dance, the art, the nature, the ocean, the mountains, the ganja, the organic food, the friends, the expansive conversations, the learning of lessons when I did, and I didn't just repeat. But I felt like an automaton. I felt the self-replicating nanotech. I had fucking, long COVID. And so I understand why people are going to get afraid again when they mutated it worse. But it's not going to work this time because it's already, look what the economic destruction alone. People are not going to be willing to just destroy their whole lives again worse this time. On this occasion. So don't expect it, folks. But here it is. I saw the article. So just remember, if you obey liars, even in your own thoughts, it's going to sting you faster. And the truth is going to be brought out because USA and the state of California both have a Sagittarius rising sign. And Aquarius also, like Sagittarius, is not about filthy bullshit and lies. USA also has an Aquarius in the moon sign, and it's about the truth, about community, about sharing. And of course, the bans, the deletes, the shadow bans, the hiding, the social hatred, the ramping of narcissism. narcissism and trying to gamify the whole fucking platform really does a great job of convincing us to, oh yeah, be afraid of this new guy. That's right, James Bartley, delete my comments. Good idea, James. I'm just a crazy person. Right. All hierarchy, all competition, and the disclosure movement and the UFO. I mean, he's a brilliant researcher. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. But on the other hand, whenever the ego, the Wetiko, the narcissistic entity gets involved, even if it's because there's things from my past he doesn't like, or he figured out, or he heard stories, or his archon told him things about me that were half-truths or horrible things I did, or whatever reason he has. To not give somebody a chance because they hit the scene new, or because it's just, look, all the competition, all the narcissism in this sphere are all part of the false reality. I'd love to go on his show. I'd love to go on Divine Mother Earth Time. I'd love to go on anyone show. And I'm not saying I want to be famous. I just want to get the truth out. I want the word out. And I love, like, the moment when Joshua let me on his live stream, then I went on Rob's, and yeah, I love to do the shadow work. I love overcoming my false limitations. I challenge everyone who has the courage, especially if you listen this far, to throw out your fake limitations and respect your real essence. And this is the point. If you can really, really do that, if you can really feel comfortable without sex, without food or water, even without anything, if you realize the indestructible nature of the true essence, you realize that God the Faker, Yaldabaoth, the vampires, the loosh farm, are nothing, eating nothing, a nothing Ouroboros, worth nothing. That billionaires are worth nothing. Unless somehow they had equal respect with everyone else and they're able to share and create that utopia they promised. Because what's real value is that essence, that kiss, that taste of food, that drink of coffee, that breath of air, that meditation, that vista, that swim in the ocean, whether it was ice cold or 83 degrees, that perfection, that ugliness, even that disease, even those horrific loosh extractions were reminders of what's real and what's fake. And I was going to say earlier, I trailed off, but that John had said that, it's disconnection from the Creator that causes suffering. And so I typed in the chat, that's because they're mutually exclusive. The loosh farm, the fake hell, the hell realm reality, and your soul's expansion, growth, bliss, fun, joy, learning, wisdom, without your memory wipe, are mutually exclusive. So that's why the memory wipe every morning. That's why the memory wipe every fucking spray. That's why the memory wipe every time the dogma or the fear or the narcissism creeps in and grabs it, your subconscious. That's why all the separation or codependency, on the other hand. That's why everything socially and sexually has to remain off balanced. That's why nobody's ever really happy when you really get to know them, unless they really are some kind of enlightened master. Because hell is a fake reality, and what upholds it is us agreeing to it. Fake informed consent through trauma bond torture, endless war, from adrenochrome and all the child stuff to, all the endless, killing sprees of Yahweh. All that leads to what? Disconnection, fear, hiding, loneliness, trauma, suffering. Whereas just having one friend, having found one friend, having had the courage to spend the night at my friend's house the other night, having had the ability to reclaim one friendship. When Loser 4 did such a brilliant job of creating the filthy hell realm and forcing everyone into it, I see that, again, when two or more are gathered in the truth, it's a big threat to a foundation of filthy lies that needs us suffering. And when we see what the Tower of Babel story was, the Tower of Babylon, why did they have to shorten our years and confound our tongues and create all these languages and different races? And it's important that we stay isolated and suffering, fake weather attacks if possible, because God is good all the time, and He controls everything, and we're here for Him, and all of our energy is for Him to steal, unless we're extremely powerful, or we remember the truth that we are, and start to take it back, and start to remain calm when He comes in to steal our energy and all those parts of the system that He controls and extract it and make us miserable, and make us so lonely that He gets really happy, because He is a really powerful psychic predator that loves to steal your essence when you're all upset. And you have anhedonia. You're depressed. You don't want to live. You don't want to be here anymore because you learned too much about the truth. Why do you think He lets guys like me speak? He loves that. Just stay depressed. Just be a good servant. Just, barely, basically survive. Be a wage slave. Stay stuck in your apartment, in your rut, in your house, in loneliness and misery. He loves you when you do that. God loves you. He loves you so much as a miserable, suffering little slave or prisoner. Isn't He good? Do you remember how fun it was at that concert? Do you remember how fun it was when you were in love with your favorite person in your life? Because there have been tastes for many of us of the true reality under the filth. But the filth threatens. You are in hell, and I will make it deeper. I will pull you into deeper levels of hell. So what's it going to take for you to realize who is the true creator and who runs with lies?